Every person in the United States, unless fully Native American, is or descends from an immigrant. The story of immigrants is embedded in our country's history, and people have come from all around the world for different reasons. But one reason that remains timeless is the pursuit of the American dream, the ability to work hard to create better lives for themselves and their children. I myself come from an immigrant family in which two of my grandparents and my own father have chased and succeeded in achieving this dream. However, while our borders were more open in the past, stricter immigration policies have become necessary in order to better regulate our growing population and secure our borders in the face of threats like terrorism. The American dream is a powerful ideal, and many people have sought out illegal methods to cross our borders, often risking their own well-being to do so. However, these migrations not only affect the immigrants themselves, they affect you and me as well. As evident in the current presidential race, America's immigration policy is a heated topic with many points of view, and that is because illegal immigration is a multifaceted problem. How do we prevent further illegal immigration from occurring? And what should be done about the millions of undocumented immigrants and their families who are already here? Should we focus on securing our borders? Should we work towards improving legal pathways to the U.S.? Or should it be a combination of both? And in discussing and finding solutions to illegal immigration, we must also consider what the U.S., already $19 trillion in debt, can realistically afford. And as a nation built upon democracy and individual liberty and rights, we must also consider what is morally right and ethical to do. Regardless of one's political leaning, illegal immigration is a topic that we, as Americans of all creeds and backgrounds, must work together towards resolving. A 2015 Pew Research study revealed that the number of undocumented immigrants residing in the U.S. rose from an estimated 3.5 million in 1990 to its peak at about 12.2 million in 2012. In recent years, the number of undocumented immigrants has actually dropped and remains steady at about 11.3 million. Today, undocumented immigrants make up about 5.1% of the U.S. labor force. However, despite their contributions to the workforce, one of the biggest issues of these unprecedented levels of illegal immigrants is the financial impact it has on the U.S. economy. According to the Federation for American Immigration Reform, the total cost of illegal immigrants costs the U.S. about $113 billion each year. This number takes into account the cost incurred from the realms of education, medical, law enforcement, and public assistance at the federal, state, and local levels. Escalating numbers of undocumented immigrants, along with the financial burden it has on the U.S. economy, clearly demonstrate that the U.S. is in need of significant immigration policy reform. The federal government, elected officials, and current presidential candidates have taken several different stances on the issue of illegal immigration. Both Democrats and Republicans see that there are flaws in our current system and that reform is necessary. Many approaches exist, but amongst the most popular are a mass amnesty, which would grant citizenship to all undocumented immigrants in the U.S., a mass deportation, and the building of a wall between the U.S. and Mexico. While these are all potential solutions to deal with some of the effects of immigration, they do not solve many of the core causes of the issue. In order to generate more taxes and distribute the tax burden more equitably, create more jobs for legal residents, support a strong and diverse economy, and provide justice to legal immigrants and U.S. citizens, we must enforce and strengthen current employment eligibility to ensure businesses maintain a legal workforce in the U.S., and we must enforce and better regulate temporary work visa programs, and we must remove incentives for people to migrate illegally to the United States, such as free public education. It is the federal government's job to ensure U.S. citizens and American interests are put first. However, changing immigration policies would not only be just for American citizens, but also for all those who seek and have gone through the process of obtaining legal access to the U.S. and to the American dream. Enforcing and strengthening current laws on legal employment and labor is one way to disincentivize illegal immigration and improve America's economic woes. Although the U.S. requires employers to hire legal residents and penalizes those who do not, with fines and eventually imprisonment, undocumented immigrants still make up 5.1% of the workforce in America, demonstrating a need for more frequent checks of businesses. Undocumented immigrants can often obtain fake legal documents and social security numbers that allow them to work. But one program that businesses can use to check legal eligibility of potential employees is called E-Verify, a free internet-based program that has proven a 98.81% efficacy record. The system cross-references social security numbers across its database and flags items, like multiple entries of the same social security number, to be verified. Currently, not all businesses are required to use E-Verify, so an effective and cost-efficient way to prevent further illegal immigration would be to create a federal mandate requiring all businesses, particularly those industries most affected by undocumented immigrants, to enroll in an E-Verify program. If businesses do not hire illegal immigrants, potential immigrants will be less likely to migrate illegally because they know if they get here that there will not be jobs available to them. And as for those who are already here, they will either be forced to go back to their home country or seek more risky and less profitable means of illegal employment. Furthermore, immigrants will be more incentivized to migrate legally if the work visa system were fixed, since almost all immigrants will seek employment of some kind. Some arrive for the sole purpose of work, to provide for their families, and America has set up a worker visa program for those seeking to find work in the U.S. However, the current work visa program is flawed, and injustices are done to both immigrants and American workers. Some immigrants may face abuse from their employers because temporary work visa laws do not have provisions to protect guest workers. Some immigrants may face abuse from their employers because they can also be paid below market wages, have little bargaining power, and cannot easily switch employers. This system must be reformed to responsibly and ethically employ migrant labor while protecting American jobs. And reform can be as simple as enforcing laws that are already in place. Workers under work visas are supposed to be paid the same wages as U.S. citizens and not displaced U.S. workers. However, under the current system, employers can and have done the exact opposite. One incident in Disney resulted in the displacement of over 200 U.S. tech workers for H-1B immigrant workers. There should be a system in place that checks on the working conditions for hired immigrants and checks to see what the result is when they are hired. Because the majority of immigrants that seek to come to America will also seek employment, they would be less incentivized to come illegally if they knew that legal work visas operated properly and justly. Although such reforms would require an initial upfront cost to optimize the current work visa program, it would disincentivize illegal immigration, potentially saving the U.S. billions of dollars. Another significant incentive that motivates people to migrate to the U.S., whether that be by legal means or not, is a free public education in America. However, use of the U.S. public school system by undocumented immigrants is estimated to cost the U.S. $52 billion each year. Schooling should only be allowed for those who legally reside in America, whether that be by citizenship through birth, legal residency, or visas. Since undocumented immigrants are not paying federal income tax, they should not be allowed to attend public schools funded by those very taxes. States and local governments should adopt a policy requiring schools to check the legal residency of their students and deny schooling to those who are undocumented. By enacting such a policy, it would disincentivize people from illegally immigrating in the future. And since 40% of immigrants have children under the age of 18, this would significantly reduce future costs from rising. However, the same policy cannot be pursued for those undocumented students who are already here and in school. It may be costly, but currently enrolled undocumented immigrants should be allowed to finish their schooling, as it would be inhumane and unconstitutional to take it away from them. Put simply, these children should not be punished for something that was not punishable at the time of their arrival. Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution states, "No bill of attainder or ex post facto law shall be passed," meaning that a law cannot be made that retroactively changes the legal consequences of actions that were committed before the enactment of the law. The leading Republican candidates in the current presidential race have taken a less nuanced approach in dealing with illegal immigration, strongly endorsing the idea of simply building a wall on America's southern border with Mexico. However, According to Mark Rosenblum, Deputy Director of the U.S. Immigration Policy Program at the Migration Policy Institute, the price of building the wall would cost anywhere between $15 and $25 billion, not including the additional $750 million a year it would cost to maintain it. Additionally, building the 2,000-mile wall would be an ambitious effort of historical proportions, considering the U.S. has not even completed the current fence along the border. Only 700 miles is finished, and that the only wall ever to surpass 2,000 miles was the Great Wall of China. And, as Pope Francis so eloquently put it is up to us, as Christians, to build bridges, not walls, wherever they may be. America's immigration policies are broken and must be reformed. It is essential that we focus on the causes of illegal immigration rather than its effects in order to find long-lasting solutions. Immigration is a crucial part to the American story, and policies must be updated to meet our changing world. Today, there are still millions of men, women, and children who hope to partake in the American dream that so many of us strive to achieve every day as well. The U.S. is a nation that seeks to provide liberty and justice for all. As citizens of this great nation, we must voice our opinions and ensure our government does what is practical, morally right, and just for all those who seek to legally pursue the American dream.